Greetings and salutations, my friends. Welcome to my factual guide on how to fix Liverpool. Now, we've got the GLA tactics board. We're going to go through the team. I'm a classic believer in 2 players in each position. We're going to go through, find out what we need, and then find out what we need to buy, who we need to buy. Now, there are a couple of names, being mentioned that I absolutely just dislike wholeheartedly, and I'm scared we're even considering it. And I've got some better options. So Liverpool, if you're watching, you're free to take notes. Don't need any commission. I'm not a super agent. It's fine. But I think the best thing to do before we go into who we should buy is let's look at the team and maybe who we should sell. So, but first thing I'm only making this video because I watch a lot of YouTube Liverpool content and I enjoy it. And I think people are going too far with certain aspects of Liverpool. Liverpool had a bad season. It wasn't the worst season in the world. We still finished 5th. It's not like, it's not the end of the world, but it was a bad season and lots of players underperformed. That does not mean they are all suddenly terrible footballers who must be sold. You can have a bad season, not be a bad player. There's like 15 of these players that probably had a bad season. Doesn't mean you have to just get rid of everybody and start again. So, let's start at the back. So, Iraola plays a sort of, the basic system is a 4-2-3-1, but it turns into a 4-1-3. The numbers don't really matter too much anymore, but for the purposes of making this tactic, we'll go with a 4-2-3-1. So, Alisson Becker is he's still the daddy, isn't he? He's still the daddy. Now, Alisson Becker is injury prone, especially for a goalkeeper. Remarkable, really. But we have a good backup. I think this is a big season that Becker is going to miss games. I want to see Mamardashvili play plenty this season, maybe in all the cups or whatever, because this kind of season is to prove himself that he can take over as number 1. And then we've got Freddie Woodman, who's a homegrown backup, classic third-choice goalkeeper, and absolutely fine. So no problem here, nothing to do. We've got bigger problems, so let's not worry about the smaller things. Now, speaking of bigger problems, centre-backs. What I'll do is, so we'll build our first 11 on the left here, and our second 11 on the right. And then we'll see exactly how bad it is. So, This is our biggest, probably equal biggest problem, I would say. Now, obviously, Liverpool do have a few youngsters. I don't know why Conor Bradley's there. We've got McConnell and Kumas and Kieran Morrison. There's some good young players there that might hopefully break through. That's the best thing as a football fan. But I'm going on what we have and the obvious youngsters. Okay, so Virgil van Dijk, still exceptional. We keep going until his legs fall off, right? That's just how it is. Now, Jeremy Jacquet, or Jacket, as my wife just called him, is coming in already a little bit of a question mark. I'm not going to pretend throughout this video, like a lot of YouTubers do, that I watch all of the leagues in the world and I know every player. Realistically, they just watch a quick YouTube compilation and check out FB Ref. But, I'm not going to pretend, but he comes quite highly valued and people talk good things about him. Going straight in, he's quite young, he's recovering back from an injury is a worry. Now, the other worry is Leone, our wonder kid centre-back who then played for about 20 minutes and then got injured for a season. I'm looking forward to seeing him again. When you have that big an injury at any point in your career, there's always a question mark. So he's like third choice, which I don't want him to be third choice. Now, Joe Gomez is a special kind of player. We're going to call him the floater. We're going to pretend that Joe Gomez doesn't exist, because then when he's here, it's just a bonus. Now, a lot of people are saying, sell Joe Gomez, he's injury prone, blah, blah, blah. The fact of the matter is, whenever he's not injured, he's a really solid player. He can play centre-back comfortably. He can play right-back comfortably. He can play left-back at a push. He's a good player to have. He's not on massive wages. So I keep him and just think of him as a freebie that, oh, look, God, we've just got this random centre-back for a month. So at the moment, he's 4th choice. But that means we've got a very injury-prone guy and a guy that's coming back from a big injury and a centre-back we've just acquired who's quite young as our 4. Okay, right-hand side. Now, you might not recognise this guy. He's called Calvin Ramsey. He's a young Scottish centre-back. Arne Slot seemed to forget his existence last season because no matter how many injuries we had on the right-back position, he would rather play anyone. He would rather play your mum at right-back than Calvin Ramsey. He sat on the bench watching Szoboszlai play there, watching Jones play there, watching every other right-back, Endo play. Everybody had a go. Right, so I don't know if Slot just didn't fancy him or if there's a player there. So I don't know what to do with him because I don't know if he exists. If he's just like a name on a bench. For me, everybody fit. Conor Bradley. I love Conor Bradley. I think he's an exceptional player, but again, we're going back to the same question. Does have injury problems. Frimpong came in. Didn't really fit what we were trying to do. He's clearly much better as a sort of wing back in a back 5. Like, that's just perfect for him. Like, I know we don't play this in modern football, but like a winger in a 4-4-2, a right winger with the right foot that gets down the wing and crosses. I'm all about that life, but nobody plays that. So these are our main 2 choices for right back, and kind of, let's say Calvin Ramsey can just sort of, hey, I'm still here, boss. For me, if everybody's fit, Bradley and then Frimpong is the backup on the right hand side. I'm loath to sell players after one season, especially if they're on the younger side. I think, and with the new manager, I want to give them a go. You get a bit of a fresh start, and so that's fine. Now, a lot of people are talking about, because there's question marks over Frimpong and there's question marks over Bradley's fitness, that we should buy another right back. I don't think we do. Remember, we have free hit Joe Gomez can play right back. And also we know for a fact now that Szoboszlai and Curtis Jones can fill in if need must. I think there's bigger problems in the Liverpool squad. I'm not going to be one of those people that's about to spend 200 million. Right, I'll tell you that now. I don't like spending £100 million on a player. I think there's better bargains to be had that we should be looking at. But we'll leave that for now, and we'll have Ramsey just as a floater. Tsimikas and Kirkez. Kirkez has obviously played under Iriola, played the system, had a much better second half of the season. Absolutely fine with Kirkez. And Tsimikas is a backup. Fine. Except he was out on loan. He didn't really get enough game time last season. But as a backup, it's fine. And then we've got Gomez. For somebody that doesn't exist. I'm sure mentioning him a lot in different positions. But he's like a 3rd, 4th choice in every position. That's the good thing about the ghost of Gomez. Now, another big question mark this season is what to do with McAllister. I just noticed that. Just pretend he's got his full name there. Alistair. What to do with Alistair? Now, for me personally, he had a bad season. He had a better World Cup. He could do the rest. But I'm not going to try and force him out the door. But I'm okay with keeping him out. Even like, honestly, if somebody came in with a 60, 70 million, then I'm going to buy him. Then I'm going to sell him. But I don't hate the idea of having him for another season. I think this is probably the best season to get the most value out of him. So I would be fine with selling him. He's definitely on my most probable sell list. But if we end up keeping him, I've got a replacement when we go to the transfers that we can look at if we do sell him. Ready-made replacement. But yeah, I'm fine with him. I want to give him like the first month of the season off. And then, so in this 2, we need more of this guy, whether it be left or right, one of these guys is going to be sort of bombing up and down a little bit more. It's normally McAllister. Before we had like a Gini Wijnaldum that used to do that role, like tireless work. But as a starting 2, I love Gravenberch. Okay, Gravenberch's coming in. He's a good ball progressor. He likes to dribble. He's not the best passer in the world, but he's a solid 6 defensive-wise. He's decent in the air. Also, he's got a nice long shot on him, which is always a bonus. Victor is come to say hello. So I'm starting Gravenberch, and alongside him, I'm putting Sir Dominic of the Slobberslai. Szoboszlai is coming in as my other DM because he is just the best at everything. He is a modern-day James Milner. He can play, we know he can play right back. We can even play him further up the pitch if we wanted to. I think he is just an exceptional player that can play in a multitude of attacking positions. We can play him in this role. We can play him as the number 10. I think you can play him on the right. I think you lose something, but I don't like on the right wing. I think you definitely could do that. Then many of you will have forgotten about this player's existence, Bajcetic. Now, I don't know, I can't remember what year it was. A few years ago, we had a horrendous injury crisis. Our whole season was falling apart. And young, I think he was 18 or 19-year-old, Bajcetic just had to play. And he was our best player for a period. He was, and we all got very excited about him. And then he has had the worst injuries you've ever seen, just constant. But he's back in training. So there's two players here that I'm going to lump together. And we'll put McAllister on our second choices at the moment. I'd keep one, sell one. I think you need depth. Not every player has to be exceptional. Not every player has to be a Premier League great. You do need a squad, and you can't afford, wages or money-wise, to have exceptional players everywhere. I think you can have a whether that's a Joe Gomez or a Bajcetic. I don't know. I'm not a doctor, but if the doctors think the worst is past for Bajcetic, then I shift Endo off. And if they think that he is just going to be injury prone for the rest of his life, then we ship him off for whatever money we can get and keep Endo. In my ideal world, we sell Endo and Bajcetic goes as our sort of fourth choice. And then we've got Trainioni, who's our wonder kid youngster. So he basically, depending on his progression, he didn't get very much game time last season, but depending on his progression, he fights it out basically here with this sort of third, fourth choice. But that gives us a lot of depth, and it obviously means Szoboszlai, if needed, can move positions. We've got 5 players here. Very happy. Now, another interesting one, a spectacular loan move to Aston Villa, really paid off, really improved his game. Harvey Elliott. For the money that was being talked about, us selling him for 25 million, I just keep him. So as our number 10, I think it's no surprise that Florian Wirtz is, for me, our number 10. Now, if you look at Bournemouth last season, they had Krupi as a number 10. But he sort of played, in FM terms, he sort of played as a second striker, right? Whereas... what's his face? The Brazilian fella, Ed Milson, that one. He would be a bit more of a target man, hold up player, and Krupi would play off him. And I like that for Wirtz. I like that more than I do the way he was playing before. He just seemed like to be crowded in an area. One of the most exciting things for Iraola for me, it's not so much his counter-pressing, although I love that style of counter-press, win the ball back. It's once you win the ball back, try and score immediately. Not like we're going to keep the ball, we're going to rotate, we're going to have possession for the sake of possession. I think Bournemouth had the 11th highest possession in the league last season. It's an irrelevant stat. It's not about that. It's about getting the ball back and then scoring as quick as possible. They don't mind a long ball. Virgil van Dijk is going to be pinging balls over the top. I'm all for it. So Wirtz is our number 10 next season. Does need to do better. Looked a little bit lightweight last season, but I think, again, new manager. It's only a second season. He's still young. I am absolutely 100% behind him on getting another season. I'm not there's no way of giving up. He's not been that bad that I would give up on him. So, and then you've got the likes of Elliott as your backup, or Szoboszlai more realistically as your backup. So we are got good depth there. Have no real problem with that. Elliott again can play out the wings. He's just not pacey enough, I don't think, to play out wide. I think he suits the number 10 role better. Then we have a Curtis Jones, the everyman. He's like I don't want to say a Timu version of Szoboszlai. That sounds rude. He's a Scouse version of Szoboszlai in which he can play this role. He can sort of play this role. He actually did all right. I think it's important to have local lads in your team. I would 100% try and get him down to a new contract, and he would get game time for me in playing all of these roles, basically, as either the sort of the 6 and the 8, we'll call them, and the 10. Although these are going to be bombing up and down. I think he's got good legs. He's amazing on the ball. He keeps hold of the ball. I think it's an important season for him. I think so. We'll put him in as our sort of group of 6 of these sort of centre mids. Now, the other big problem, firstly, obviously I'm going to talk about Bradley Barcola in a minute when we talk about transfers. I do not want to sell Bradley Barcola. If it was a 60, 70 million pounds, then yeah, okay, cool. Let's go for it. As soon as it started going up beyond that, 80, 100, no, not for me. 140, no, absolutely not. I think he's a good player. But for 140, you're looking at like the best of the best. You should be looking at the absolute tippity top. You shouldn't be looking for a backup PSG player that doesn't have the best end product. He's a very good player, but still has to make improvements to his game. That shouldn't be the case. That shouldn't be the case for 140 odd million. I think that's utterly ridiculous. Not only that, he's a left winger. We don't need a left winger. I know he can play on the right, but if I'm spending 140 million pounds, I want to be a specialist in the position I need. And for me, this position is almost the easiest on the pitch. It's Gakpo and Engamoa, right? I know Gakpo got a lot of heat last season, but again, a lot of the players underperformed last season. If you look at his numbers in previous seasons, he's a solid player. I'm not saying he's a world beater by any chance. And if some idiots, I'm talking Tottenham, came in and bid 70 million for him, then yeah, that makes more sense. That if you can do Barcola for 110, and get 70 for Gakpo in that unlikely circumstance, then yes. But for me, all you do with this position, this left wing position, is you just even the game time up. The problem for me last season was that Gakpo played too much and Engamoa not enough. Slot seems to not trust youngsters as much. We only really saw Engamoa at the end of the season. I just think these two battle it out. Maybe Engamoa is slightly more the main man, and Gakpo's like as a sort of squad rotational player. Gakpo is absolutely fine. Yes, he's like a Timu Coutinho in that he has one trick, which is be on the left, cut inside, shoot from range on his right foot. But he is very good at it, and he seems to score plenty of goals with it. So it's not like he's not getting away with it anymore. For me, this is just a no-brainer. I don't think we should be spending any money that restricts Engamoa's development. He should be getting a ton of game time next season. Make him the main man and Gakpo's the backup. Fine, whatever. But he just needs game time now. That's it. That's as simple as that. And maybe in training, they've discovered that Engamoa is actually really good on the right. So maybe that's where he gets his game time or something. But as we know of now, he's played the vast majority on the left. And now Barcola has played on the left, but he's a predominantly right. He's a predominantly left winger, but he's played a bit on the right. But I'm not spending 140 million for a guy that plays a bit in the position you need. And then we've got Chiesa. He's a bit of a Gomez for me. Again, he is on relatively high wages, I believe, and but he's not worth that much. And we need a squad of players. So I'm going to put Engamoa as there, and then Gakpo can go in as the second choice. I'm fine with him staying. I'm absolutely fine. He can play up top at a push. He can play at number 10. He can play out on the wing. Just a cup game guy. If we're only going to sell him for like 10, 15 million at most, then I just think keep him. Because we need squad depth. We don't have unlimited money to spend. So although in the perfect world, I'd like to upgrade a few of these, We don't live in that world. We live in the world where we've got quite a lot of injury-prone players. So Chiesa stays. He's the backup for a couple of positions, or third choice for a couple of positions. And then right wing, Mo Salah's gone. Obviously, we've got World Cup winner Victor Munoz, who again I think is slightly predominantly a left winger, but we'll put him there. He can get game time on each. He by default is our main because there's nobody else. And then up top, we've got Isak and Ekatike. They can switch around whenever, but obviously Ekatike's got a long-term injury, but Isak, we need to see where we spent our money this season. He needs to stay fit and he needs to have a good season, and then we'll go, okay, got it. Isak with a second striker of Wirtz, with Szoboszlai and Gravenberch on the edge of the box, I think it's lovely. There is a slight question mark as whether this is defensive enough. Gravenberch is a fine 6, but he's not a destroyer, win the ball back at any costs type guy. So we'll see. Like I said before, Szoboszlai, I feel like he could play out on the right. I just love him, and I think he's our best player, and I think he could play anywhere. So let's talk about how this isn't too bad. Apart from the obviously depth at right wing and a right wing, it's not too bad. It's not too bad. What we need is potentially a centre-back. I think that's important. I think we're fine for the DM roles. What do you think, Victor? We're fine for the the central midfield roles and the number 10s, but I'm going to look into somebody that I'd buy if we lost McAllister, and we need, obviously, a right winger. So let's talk about it. So the first player I want to talk about in our... Wait, stop typing. Before we jump in, Arsenal fans, congratulations on the Premier League. You are not signing Vinicius Jr. And this is not against you. I'm not trying to make some comment that you're a small club or he'd never join you or whatever. He's just doing this to get a new contract. They've just picked the Premier League champions. And, he's only got a bit of time left on his deal. He's got 1 year left on his deal. Is he going to leave? No. He just wants more money, like all footballers do, and is using you. You're the latest big club to be used to get a new contract. Don't get excited. You're not signing him, okay? I'm sorry, but it's not happening. I will eat my hat if he signs. So the centre-back position is an odd one, because if all going well, if Xhaka comes in, settles in quick, feels good, loving life, great. And if Leone comes in, recovers from his injury, gets his fitness back, looks really polished, maybe battles for Xhaka for that first spot, great. Kind of don't want to touch that. Let them battle it out for the second spot. I don't want to sort of throw someone in there. But the problem is, if those things don't, and there's a good chance they don't, we don't want... One of my choices, hear me out, this is definitely a hear me out, okay, is Sir Jonathan Stones, who, upon recording this, just signed for Inter Milan. But my reasoning was, yes, I know he's not played much football, but between him and Joe Gomez, we might get a whole of a player, if we combine them. I was thinking John Stones. I realistically, he probably wants too much money, but I was thinking John Stones just for a year, just to help this transition period. He's still only 32, but, his legs are made of balsa wood. But I kind of liked the idea. So, okay, but he's gone already, so we can't do that. Okay, so after John Stones rudely went to Inter Milan, it's just because we've got the players. I'm gonna go for. It's a bit of a safe option, Zabarnyi. Now, he only joined PSG a year ago for like 57 odd million, but he missed a few of their important games, and he played for Bournemouth, so he's got the link with Iriola, and he's been linked with Liverpool. He was his agent or him said he'd been offered to Liverpool or something like this. He's only, I think, 23. This would be like a perfect thing. Then you have Virgil van Dijk, Zabarnyi, and Xhaka to basically battle early on for that second spot. And then Leone can work on his fitness. He's been out for a year. Get a few reserve games, get a few cup games. And then, because the ideal world, at some point, we need to give Virgil van Dijk a little bit of time off. Just the odd game. He's not going to last forever. And if we get to that point where Leone's pushing through, then we can go Zabarnyi and Xhaka and then Leone. We have to start thinking about the transition and moving on and just giving Virgil a bit of a break. So I don't know how much this would cost. I'm assuming they probably want their money back. They know, nobody wants to look like a loser. So like 57 million, it's a fair chunk of change. But we haven't spent that much so far this transfer window. So that's my shout that I'd like. I think that makes the most sense. Having worked with the manager before, having played in the Premier League before, it just seems like and he's a really good passer of the ball. It just seems like the perfect fit. Now, I'm going to give you a McAllister replacement. In case I'm fine with keeping McAllister, but if we lose McAllister and if we get a good offer for him, I am a massive fan of Alex Scott. If you don't know, Bournemouth are kind of my second team. Bournemouth's where I'm from. I'm not going to answer the question of why you a Liverpool fan then. Boo, you boo boo. Right, it's a long story. Can't be asked to repeat that for the 100th time. Liverpool are just my team, okay? But obviously I do. My nephew's a massive Bournemouth fan, and we talk about Bournemouth all the time, so I keep a close eye on them. Obviously, if Liverpool play them, I want to destroy them into the earth, into the ground. But, I like Bournemouth. Alex Scott's just been absolutely superb. He's such a good all-rounder. He has that ability to get up and down. If you look at his heat maps, it's basically just colouring in a pitch. He's that sort of player. I think for a McAllister replacement alongside a Gravenberch, if you want to put Szoboszlai further up, I just think it's perfect. He's homegrown, always nice. He's a really good age. Now, Bournemouth have made a bit of money in the last couple of years, so it might be tricky to pry him away. I don't know if he has a release clause, but yeah, I really like him. I know he's been linked with. Last time I saw it, he was being linked with Man United, but apparently Chelsea and Arsenal are after him. But yeah, I think he would be an exceptional signing. But I don't think we need him if we don't get McAllister. If somebody could say to me today, hey, straight swap, let's say for instance, 60, 70 million, we're just doing a straight swap, McAllister for Scott, I'd probably take it. I think just the age upgrade, homegrown, proven. We're not sure about McAllister if he's on a downward trend or not. So yeah, I'd probably do the swap, but I'm not rushing to get rid of him unless Tottenham come in, because Tottenham, aren't they? They're just spooging money up the wall at the moment. So yeah, if we sell them, Alex Scott coming in. Right, now slightly bigger problem on the old right wing, innit? So old Barcode himself, Bradley Barcola, BB Bradders to his mates. Too much money. It's too much money. I like him. He's good. If they're quoting 140 odd million. No, not even 100. I don't feel. I think there is still money, and I'm going to show you a couple of transfers. But I still think there is transfers big teams could make for very good players that improve their squad that aren't 100 million. I know inflation is crazy, and now players are regularly seemingly going for over £100 million. But I just don't think, and we haven't had much success either with those big signings either at Liverpool. I just don't think we need to spend it. I don't want to sign this guy. Please don't sign this guy. If you sign this guy, I will obviously support him and back him and cheer him on. But just don't. There's better ways to spend the money. And the first way to spend your money is to buy a wonder kid. Ibrahim Mbaye. I'm not going to pretend that I know much about him. I've seen other people talk about him in glowing terms, and I want to seem cool and knowledgeable. In which case, I probably should have told you that part. But lots of big things about him. Apparently, as you can see by the current rumours, there is lots of talk about him leaving, whether he thinks he should be getting first team football already, and he's only 18. Whether he wants to get a lot of first team. Also, if you want to meet mature women online, You know I'm getting old when Google Ads is like, do you want old people? So I think he's probably good. I can't say too much about him. I don't know how much he costs, but the fact that everybody's been linked with him, this is kind of not so much the individual player, but this is what I'd rather do than spend 140 million pounds. Spend 30 million 4 times cheaper. Do the math. Yeah, that's cheaper. And there's, on 4 really good youngsters or 4 players of varying experience, and I think you'll be better off on the long term, even if 1 or 2 of them don't work out. So that's the one people say is really good. So we'll go with that. Now, here's one that was, here's one that, I'll talk about him, but I've rejected him. Pedro Neto. Now, while he was at Wolves, I was a big fan. I liked him a lot. And I don't hate him now, but I wouldn't spend that sort of money on him. But if, he's 26, if in the region of 40 million, what I'm trying to do to replace Mo Salah is not to replace Mo Salah, because that's impossible, is find a couple of players, maybe of different skill sets, that can, fill in. We don't need somebody to score all the goals. Hopefully, we're going to get more goals from midfield, from Florian Wirtz, from Isak. It's not all reliant on Mo Salah, right? So, if there was a world that we could get him for like 40 million, there might be a punt, but I'm still not overly comfortable with. Now, here's another one. Now, I was convinced at the end of the season that we should go for Jarrod Bowen. Now, full disclosure, he is a friend of mine, right? And, a mate playing for my team would be amazing. But aside from that, I just thought, and I still think, and I know he announced that he was staying, right, at West Ham, which is like amazing. If you're a West Ham fan, you must be absolutely delighted. But he wouldn't, they're relegated. He's 29. He's at his peak of his powers. He wouldn't get relegated. He wouldn't get, he wouldn't fall apart. You know exactly what you're getting. A very good Premier League pro. He's captain of West Ham for 30-ish million. I honestly thought it was a no-brainer, especially because Ekatike is out at the end of the season, until a big chunk of the season, right? They're talking like past Christmas. So, and Jarrod can play up front as well. It's not his preferred position, but he helps, and we don't really have much backup to Isak, who, as we know, a little bit injury prone. So, I just thought, I honestly think this is an absolute no-brainer. Like, absolutely reliable. Is he going to win you the Champions League? No. Like not on his own. I mean, like, he's not an upgrade or like an absolute game changer. But I just, he can play as the second striker if you want. I just think I don't know why people are so dismissive, because he's like, oh, he's 29, he played for West Ham. It's like, it's just, that's not it. That's not the way it is. You just want the next big shiny. Oh, Bradley Barcola. Or you want to, how much have you watched him? All the times he was on the bench in the Champions League. Like, how much? It doesn't always have to be a big shiny thing. This guy was performing at a team of lesser quality, a team that was struggling for seasons, and still scoring goals, still getting assists. I'm gutted that we didn't sign. I'm genuinely forgetting the fact I'm mates with him. I'm gutted that I think it's perfect. I think you still sign another right winger and they battle it out. But this as a squad player would have just been perfect. My final punt, and like I said before, I'm not trying to spend. I don't like spending 100+ million on one player. I don't. It's just, maybe I'm too old school at this point. He could stub his toe and break his leg day one, and you've 140 million pound asset is now not playing you for. You know what I mean? Like, or he just doesn't fit. Especially if it's from abroad. Sometimes, as good as they are, they might not just get on well with the Premier League. The final one I'm going for is, I don't know if this is rogue. Brahim Diaz. Now, in all honesty, the only thing I can think of him at the moment is him Panenkering a penalty and missing, right? But he is obviously a very, very good player. Played for Real Madrid. He's not getting in the side. I think he's just coming back from an injury. I don't think he would cost the earth. It's another 30, 40-ish million pound player. Like, for me, if you went... Obviously, we've got Victor. Obviously, we've got Munoz, right? Who I don't know anything. I'm not going to pretend to know anything about him, but apparently he's quite good. Newcastle wanted him. So, we've got him, but I don't know if that's more for the other side or which side he's playing on. But let's say he's like, yeah, he can play there. If we signed for a combined 70 million, Jared Bowen and Brahim Diaz, I think that's really good. Yes, it's not a big new shiny thing. It's not a Yandy Amandi or whatever. You know, a 19-year-old that's had one good season. You know, like, but you know what you're getting. Jared slots straight in. Brahim Diaz can settle in. They can rotate the minutes. Winner stays on type thing. It's the same with, like, I like this one a little bit less because I think it costs more. But, like, it's the same with the Pedro Neto. Like, not every player has to be a wonder kid. We didn't buy Mo Salah because he was like, oh my God, this is an amazing wonder kid. He'd failed. He'd absolutely failed at Chelsea and had to rebuild his career. Like, oh God, am I getting Bon Jovi ads as well? Meet old women, Bon Jovi, the surprising cause of memory loss. Oh my God, I'm such an old person, aren't I? And a guy in internet raved email service became free. Okay. I'm just old, aren't I? Just old. But like, and I know people will have total. No, we need a plug and play well beater. But for me, okay, fine. But that's also not Buckler. It has to be a natural right winger that plays on the right wing all the time and is a right winger. Right? Surely, if you're going to spend that sort of money, surely. So, for me, the way I do it, so I'm bringing in Zabarnyi, right? I'm bringing in, so for 50 mil, Zabarnyi. I'm bringing in Alex Scott as a not a swap with Bournemouth, but we're going to sell McAllister, bring in Alex Scott as a sort of fresh-faced replacement of a sort of similar-ish player. We're going to, so that's 50 mil, and then we're going to get Jared Bowen. We're going to persuade him that he doesn't want to stay at West Ham, and actually he wants to play in the Premier League and come to Liverpool. That's 80 million, and then that's maybe 30, 40, so we'll go 120. And we spent 30 already on Munez, right? I think that's reasonable. It fixes most of the problems. We've got much more strength at centre back with Zabarnyi. He literally plug and play. I think I've cracked it. Liverpool, call me. Let me know what you think. Obviously, you know, you might have watched some of these players. What's that youngster that I've already forgotten? You might have watched him and gone, no, he's actually terrible. But like, let me know in the comments what you do. I'm just, like I said, the only reason I made this video was because so many of them are like, just everybody's shit now because we had a shit season. So everybody's shit. McAllister's just the worst player in the world. Gakpo's just the worst player in the world. Get rid of them and sign all the best players in the world. You know, that's not really how it works. And I think that's being disrespectful to players that won a fucking Premier League very recently. Right? Right? They can. And maybe McAllister is just passing over the edge a little bit. And it's time to cash in. But he's not a terrible player. It's not the worst thing in the world if he stays for another season. People are... I don't know. It's just... supporters of big clubs just think they are somehow owed it. You know, they are owed... well, just get Barkler in and just pay whatever. There's 140... Okay. Yeah. And if he comes in for 140 million and he's crap, you'll all be bitching about how terrible the manager and the owner and all that sort of stuff is. What a waste of incredible amounts of money. You know, so, no. I think there's, and I'm sure I can make a list of load of players that are around the 50 million or under. They're the sort of players. I would sign 2 of them every day over £100 million guy. I just think it makes more sense. Maybe I'm just old. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Obviously, my team would win the Premier League, but you know, not everybody has my skills. It's understandable. It's not, you know, I can't judge everyone based on my legendary knowledge and ball knowledge. Right. Let me know what I think. Let me know what I think. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you'd do. And also, if you would buy Bradley Barnes, I'm sure everybody would like to have him at Liverpool. What's the top limit realistically? What's the top limit that you'd pay for him? Right, I don't know why I'm saying who's that guy. I'm literally he's still on the page, doesn't buy. Good player, good player. Really good right winger. All right, I'll see you next time. If you want me to do more of these, leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.